3 days before the wedding, I was hit by a car and had my spine broken. Shanian sent the perpetrator to prison, lying in the hospital bed. I didn't want to wake up upon hearing the sad news of my disability. In a daze of consciousness, I heard the conversation between Shanian and the doctor. Mr. Shen, it's still not too late to perform the surgical treatment. A few more days later, Miss Gu will really be disabled for life. You just want Jiang Yen to be your bride. Why take the risk of causing someone's death? Let her be disabled. I'll support her for the rest of her life. If she recovers, she will definitely cause trouble at the wedding. I promised Nian Nian that I would welcome our child into the Shen family in a grand manner. Only when Guwan is completely incapacitated will she treat my child as her own. Even if she's disabled, at least she won't bully the child. In a corner that no one noticed, a tear rolled down from the corner of my eye. It turned out that the wedding I had been looking forward to for so long was just a lie. The love I had longed for was also a death warrant for me. Since that's the case, I'll grant his wish. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Don't talk too much. Do as I planned. The hysterectomy must be done thoroughly, and don't let her find out when she wakes up. I'll take her to the Welfare Institute to pick up the child. Without the chance of having children, she will surely love Yuan dearly. The doctor wiped the sweat from his forehead, feeling a twinge of compassion. Mr. Shen, why don't you think about it again? Miss Gu is already paralyzed from the waist down. If you remove her uterus, isn't that killing her? How will she hold her head up in front of the elders of the Shen family in the future? Moreover, your child with Miss Jiang is already 3 years old. That girl looks 8 points like you. If Miss Gu finds out, it will all be over. Shanian reached out and skillfully wiped my chapped lips with a wet tissue over and over again. His voice was filled with the regret of unrequited love. She won't find out. As long as she's disabled, she can only live in the Shen family's manor for the rest of her life and won't be able to step out even half a step. I promised Nian Nian that I would hold a grand wedding for her and watch our child grow up with my own eyes. Even if she marries someone else now, I will never let her have any worries. The doctor beside him let out a long sigh and looked at my pale face on the hospital bed. Guwan is a good girl. You clearly grew up together since childhood. Why do you have to hold on to that? Forget it. I won't say any more. As long as you think it's okay, just go ahead. Go and prepare for the surgery. Remember, do it cleanly and don't leave any traces while Wan is still not awake. I don't want her to suffer too much. The doctor quickly left the ward. Shanian took out his phone and sent a voice message to his assistant. Did that driver not spill the beans? Transfer 2 million yuan to his family as agreed before and help them move out of the city. Don't let Wan find out. Tears fell uncontrollably and were absorbed by the pillow. Shanian wiped my body with hot water over and over again, but I still couldn't stop feeling cold all over. It turned out that the wedding I had been looking forward to for 5 years was just making wedding clothes for Jiang Yan. That car accident was by no means an accident. He was just clearing me. The stumbling block for Jiang Yan, the happiness and fulfillment I thought I had were nothing but a bubble in the water and a flower in the mirror. Lies and hurt were the truth between us. I struggled to open my eyes, but soon, anesthetic was injected into my body. Before being wheeled into the operating room, Shanian lovingly kissed my forehead. Be good. It will be over soon. Wan, I'll be waiting for you to come out. The cold instruments kept churning inside my body. My broken heart also turned completely cold. When I opened my eyes again, I had already been sent back to the ward. I still had no feeling below my lumbar spine. Shanian was by my bedside when he saw me wake up. His face was filled with worry. He placed my hand in his and gently pressed it against his cheek. Wan, you're awake. Is there anywhere else that hurts? Tell me if it hurts, and I'll ask them to change your dressing. His expression was as loving as ever, but there was no warmth in his eyes anymore. For the sake of another person, one could really go to such lengths. I gently shook my head and touched the stubble on his chin. You haven't slept all night, have you? I'm okay. You can take a rest for a while. Shanian didn't think much of it. He relaxed and soon fell into a dream. I picked up the phone he had placed on the bedside table and unlocked it. The wallpaper was still the wedding photo we had taken in advance. The social media app in the background hadn't been logged out. The top contact was marked as Nian Nian. I clicked into the chat box. Besides cute kitten emojis, there were all group photos of Jiang Nian holding the child. Yuan Yuan is calling for daddy again today. She's so young, but already knows that her daddy is handsome. She will definitely be a looks-conscious person in the future. Yuan Yuan had a good appetite today. She ate up all the cake you sent by herself. Yuan Yuan is clamoring to go to the amusement park with daddy. I couldn't persuade her no matter what. Come over if you have time. Shanian didn't reply, but there were video records of up to 2 hours under each photo. Remembering what he once said that he didn't like children, I finally understood that it wasn't that he didn't like children, he just didn't like the child born from my womb. He set up a separate photo album for Jiang Yan. The password was the child's birthday. 5,000 photos recorded the child's growth process over 3 years. On every important festival, Shanian was by their side. The second chat box in the app was the record of the conversation with the wedding planning company, since the preparation for the wedding started a month ago. Shanian had reported Jiang Nian's name. The wedding dress was in her size. The invitation cards had the handwriting jointly written by the two of them. From the very beginning, he had never intended to let me attend this wedding. I smiled self-deprecatingly and didn't continue looking. I contacted my best friend and asked her to find another hospital abroad for me to have the surgery. I applied to cancel all my certificates in the country. My best friend didn't think much of it and just thought that I had seen Shanian's true colors. She was happy for me between the lines. I put down the phone and fell into a deep sleep. When I opened my eyes again, I was awakened by Shanian's crying. He was holding the hospital report in his hand, and his shoulders were shaking constantly. Wan Wan, the doctor said that during the examination, it was found that you were born without a uterus and have no fertility. Don't worry. I won't dislike you, no matter what you become. You are my wife. After you are discharged from the hospital, let's adopt a child, okay? With a child to accompany you, you will definitely get better gradually. I was the one who lost my fertility, but he looked even sadder than me. His acting was so realistic that I didn't bother to expose him. After a long silence, looking at the report in his hand, I nodded heavily. Shanian was moved to tears and hugged me in his arms. I will definitely take good care of you. Don't be afraid. No matter what others say, I will stand by your side. After we get married, I will transfer all the assets in my name to you as a guarantee for you. Our chests were pressed tightly together, but our heartbeats were at different frequencies. After a while, Shanian struggled to speak. However, the wedding is already prepared. Now that your body hasn't recovered, it may be necessary to find someone to take my place. Don't lose the face of the Shin family. I knew what he wanted to say. Rather than putting myself in a passive position, it was better to bring it up on my own initiative. At least I could maintain some dignity. Shanian was amazed at the change in my attitude, but since his wish had been fulfilled, he didn't want to pursue the matter further. The phone rang. He took a look and said in surprise, Wan Wan, what certificates did you cancel? I quickly deleted the message and calmly explained, it's nothing, the certificates have expired, and I can just replace them online. He didn't think much of it. He hugged me even tighter, and his tone was full of distress. You're not in a convenient state now. If you need anything, tell me, and I'll handle it for you. Shanian, I want to be discharged from the hospital. His emotions suddenly became tense. No, your body hasn't recovered yet. I don't agree. I tugged at his arm and swayed. Smiling brightly, didn't you say you wanted to take me to adopt a child? There are nannies at home to take care of me, and nothing will happen. I want to go to the Welfare Institute and have a look. Okay, we had been together for 5 years, and this was the first time I acted coquettishly with him. Shanian couldn't resist me and softened his heart and agreed. On the way, he took out the cakes that had already been prepared in the car and placed them in front of me one by one. He said he bought them specially for me, but the instruction on the packaging that it was edible for young children still stunned my eyes. I closed the bag, threw the cake behind me, and closed my eyes on the pretext of not feeling well. This 5-year-long deception was about to end. As soon as we entered the Welfare Institute, I was sitting in a wheelchair. A little girl rushed up familiarly and hugged Shanian's leg tightly. She kept calling Daddy on her lips. Shanian's face changed. Afraid that I would be suspicious, he quickly explained, "Don't get me wrong, I sponsor this Welfare Institute. I've come to visit a few times before. This child is an orphan and has always called me like this." I nodded and smiled as I touched the child's face. "She looks a lot like you. If you hadn't said it, I would have thought this was your child. What's her name?" "Yun, the one I'm going to adopt." Before he could explain further, Yun started crying and shouting for her mother. Shanian's face instantly turned pale. He frowned tightly and looked at me. "I'm okay. Go and comfort her. This child is beautiful, and I like her too." My words made him heave a sigh of relief. Shanian didn't think much more and carried the child into the office. I made an excuse to go to the bathroom and avoided, but there were constant whispers from the employees at the door. "Why does Mr. Shin make his own child pretend to be an orphan? That outfit is all high-end luxury. More expensive than my life. Who would believe that she's an orphan? What do you know? Mr. Shin has already arranged everything. This is the only way to let the child enter the Shin family legally. Be smarter when you go out later and don't let it slip in front of Miss Gu." Sure enough, the person closest to Mr. Shin's heart is still Miss Jiang. They both like to come here to participate in activities when they were in college. I could tell back then. I didn't expect it to come true now. A man and a woman are staying in the same room. Maybe they are already. The ambiguous laughter reached my ears, pressing on my chest so hard that I could hardly breathe. I moved the wheelchair to the door, and a familiar voice came from inside. "Is he treating you well?" "Pretty good. It's just that he's abroad all year round, and there are some things he can't take care of. It's okay like this. He won't find out about Yun, and he's even pestering me to have a child for him." Shanian smiled with his lips curled, but his eyes were full of bitterness. "You don't have to worry about Yun once she's taken into the Shin family. If there's anything you need help with, just send me a message. By the way, this is the bracelet I just bought. Consider it a wedding gift for you." Jiang Yen took the gift box and winked playfully. "Why are you giving me something again? How many wedding gifts have you given me in the year since we got married? My cloakroom can't even hold them all. Wan will definitely be unhappy if she finds out." As she spoke, she didn't stop the action of accepting the gift. Beside her, Yun smiled and threw herself beside her, calling her mom nonstop. The director was in a hurry to handle the formalities and rushed in front of me and pushed the door open. A trace of panic flashed in Shanian's eyes. Wan, why did you come here?" "Don't think too much. Jiang Yen is a volunteer at this Welfare Institute. She just happened to come over today to have a look and discuss the matter of me adopting Yun. Jiang Yen stood up, held Yun in her arms, and waved at me. Wan, long time no see." I sat in the wheelchair and nodded with a smile, suppressing my grievances and saying, "It's okay. I'm just taking a stroll. Since you're busy, I won't trouble you. I'll wait for you in the car." After saying that, I turned around and left. Shanian thought I was angry and came after me to explain for a long time. Don't get me wrong, she often comes here to sponsor and participate in activities. All the children in the institute call her mom. I will explain to Yun after the adoption formalities are completed. Looking at the way he was anxious for me, I suddenly felt like laughing. In order to let the child enter the family legally, he didn't hesitate to cause a car accident to make me disabled, now that his wish had come true. Who is he showing his grievances to? Don't worry, I'm not such an unreasonable person. You handle the formalities well, and I'll wait for you in the car obediently. He let out a sigh of relief and watched me return to the car. Every employee who passed by looked at me with mockery in their eyes. I ignored them and took out my phone to cancel the certificates online. To celebrate Shanian bringing the child home, the Shin family held a family banquet. I made an excuse that my body hadn't recovered and hid on the second floor to rest, but the sneering laughter of Shanian's parents downstairs still came through the crack of the door. I moved the wheelchair and stood at the corner of the stairs. I looked at the harmonious scene of the family of three downstairs. Shanian attentively put the food that Yuan liked into her exclusive plate. Jiang smiled and bantered with him. She said that if he continued like this, he would surely spoil the child sooner or later. Shanian didn't care and stroked the little crown on Yuan's head. My daughter is amazing no matter what she does. The grievances pent up in my chest finally burst out. I returned to the room and tore up all the things Shanian had given me in the past 5 years and threw them into the trash can. The moment the trash can tipped over, Jiang suddenly appeared in front of me. She kicked over my wheelchair. I was in so much pain that I was sweating all over, but she raised a smiling face. Guan, it must be very painful to become a disabled person, right, after all these years. You're still as useless as ever, seeing your own wedding replaced with my name. Seeing your husband bring back my daughter, and you still have to swallow your anger. I feel sorry for you. I struggled to get up. The next second, Jiang leaned backward and fell straight down the stairs. I hadn't even reacted yet. Shanian had already held the person in his arms. The look in his eyes as he stared at me was filled with anger. Guan, what are you doing? Have you gone crazy? Nian kindly went up to call you for dinner. Why did you lay a hand on her? Shanian's parents also looked at me with dissatisfaction. Yuan stood beside them, wailing loudly, "Bad woman. The bad woman is bullying Mom. I don't want this bad woman to enter our home. I want Mom. I want Mom." Jiang weakly wrapped her arm around Shanian's shoulder. "I'm sorry. I just told Wan that I agreed to attend the wedding on her behalf. I didn't expect her to misunderstand me. Don't blame Wan. She didn't do it on purpose." I lay on the ground in a sorry state. A cold sneer curling my lips. "Shanian, about the wedding, the car accident, and the child, don't you owe me an explanation?" Shanian furrowed his brows, a trace of panic flashing in his eyes. "What explanation? What does the car accident you had have to do with Jiang? She kindly agreed to attend the wedding for you. Instead of being grateful, you laid a hand on her. Guan, when did you become like this?" Apologized to Jiang before I could say anything. Shanian's parents had already turned cold. She's a disabled person herself, but still can't stay quiet. Does she really think she's still the daughter of the Gu family? Who else but my son would want a useless person? All right, leave her alone. Her being disabled today is her retribution. Hurry up and send Nian to the hospital. Make sure she's not seriously hurt. My nails dug deeply into my palm, and blood kept flowing from my lower body. Shanian held Jiang in one hand and held the child's hand with the other. Just like that, they left the house. The love I had for him over the past 5 years turned to ashes at this moment. I clumsily climbed back into the wheelchair. I bought a plane ticket for the day of the wedding for myself. Then I turned and went to the hotel. That night, Shanian sent a message to explain. After all, Jiang is going to attend the wedding for you. You hurt her. And it won't look good at the wedding. Asking you to apologize was just a temporary measure, just acting for her. Don't think too much about it. My parents just said those words casually. I'll take them to apologize to you after the wedding. You have a good rest. I've prepared a surprise for you, and it will arrive on the day of the wedding. You will definitely like it, but I knew that this act wasn't for Jiang at all. It was for me. He had pretended to be affectionate for 5 years, now. It was time for it to end. I didn't go home for the next 2 days. Shanian didn't go back either. He was busy preparing the wedding venue. He took care of everything personally. On the morning of the wedding, I called him. He was busy giving instructions to his assistant and didn't pay attention to me. "Mr. Shen, are you sure you want to transfer half of the company's shares to Miss Jiang? After all, she's not a member of the Shen family. Isn't this too risky? Do as I say." This half is the compensation I promised her, and the other half is for the child. You personally receive the wedding guests and be careful of the Gu family coming to cause trouble." After the assistant left, Shanian remembered the phone call that was still connected. "Wanwan, sorry to keep you waiting. The wedding is about to start. I'll come back to accompany you as soon as it's over. Don't be unhappy." I looked at the plane ticket in my hand, expressionless. "Then you're busy. I won't disturb you, Shanian. Happy wedding." He was stunned for a second, then laughed loudly. "It's us who are having a happy wedding. Wait for me at home." Obediently, after the call was hung up, I turned around and got on the plane. After receiving the text message that the cancellation of the certificates was successful, I deleted all his contact information. The wedding began. Shanian's mind kept replaying that phone call, and a sense of unease welled up in his heart. He turned to his assistant and gave instructions. "Go and check where Guan is. She will definitely cause trouble since I'm having a wedding with someone else." After the ceremony, Shanian held Jiang Yan's hand and toasted the guests one by one. The assistant rushed over in a hurry, his face pale. "Something's wrong, Mr. Shen. Miss Gu took a plane and left this morning, and that flight just crashed into the sea." As soon as the words fell, the entire wedding venue fell silent. Shanian's face, which had been filled with joy and excitement just now, instantly turned pale. The wineglass in his hand fell to the ground, but he didn't care about the so-called face of the Shen family. He grabbed the assistant's collar with one hand. His eyes were full of anger. "What did you say? Say it again. Where is Guan?" Jiang Yan beside him wanted to hold him back. She kept speaking to comfort his emotions. "Ian, don't be impulsive. Everyone is watching. And your parents are here too. Let's talk about it later." Ian, listening to her softly worried words, Shanian couldn't calm down as he used to this time. He shook off Jiang Yan with his other hand. He pulled the assistant to a secluded corner. "What exactly happened to Guan? Shouldn't she be waiting for me obediently at the Shen family? We even talked on the phone this morning, and she clearly promised me." Perhaps due to his emotional agitation, even Shanian himself didn't notice that his voice was trembling uncontrollably. He didn't know why he was so agitated, but the moment he heard that something had happened to me, his emotions suddenly got out of control. The assistant panicked and quickly showed him the news of the plane crash on his phone. "Miss Gu did take this flight. I just found out these 2 days. The Shen family said they were going to hold a wedding for you and were short of staff. All the servants in the villa were borrowed to the hotel, and there was no one to take care of Miss Gu at home. I've already checked her registration information, and it's indeed this flight. I've also watched the surveillance footage of the villa. Miss Gu left the night before last, the night you took Miss Jiang away." The hand on the collar dropped weakly. Shanian was overwhelmed by a deep sense of powerlessness for the first time. He didn't even have the strength to stand up. After a long while, he said softly, "It can't be. Wanwan promised me that she would wait for me to go back at home and even wished us a happy wedding." "No, it's not right," she said. "She wished me and Jiang Yan a happy wedding." His voice was very soft, and the assistant could hardly hear it if he didn't listen carefully, sensing something was wrong. The assistant hesitated and said, "Mr. Shen, did Miss Gu find out about the things you've done? Otherwise, with her physical condition, it's impossible for her to leave at this time. If that's really the case, I'm afraid." The words were left unfinished, but Shanian had already predicted the result. However, he didn't want to believe the bloody truth in front of him. He chose to deceive himself. "No, it's impossible. Wanwan won't find out. With her personality, if she knew something, she would definitely come to question me immediately, but she didn't say anything, and she didn't send me any messages in the past 2 days. I clearly explained the things that happened at the banquet to her, and she didn't blame me. She won't leave just like this. I won't allow it. Search for her. Search every corner if you have to. I want to see her alive. If she's dead, I will bury her body with my own hands." For the last sentence, Shanian almost roared it out with all his strength. The assistant was so scared that his face turned pale. He quickly turned around to investigate my whereabouts. As soon as he left, Jiang Yan approached. She was still as weak and gentle as before. She gently took Shanian's arm. "What's wrong? Did something happen to Wanwan? I knew she was angry because I was attending the wedding for her, but today is a big event for the Shin family. Several company bosses are here, and the elders of the Shin family are also at the scene. No matter how naughty she is, she shouldn't be angry with you at this time, and she even lied to you about the plane crash. She's being too willful. Ian, you spoil her too much. I know Wanwan, she has no friends here. She will come back when she figures it out on her own. Don't be too worried. Your parents are still waiting for you to toast them outside. In the past, Ian might have believed her words. He might have chosen to wait for me to go back and admit my mistake obediently. But this time, he remembered my abnormal attitude. The surging emotions in his heart couldn't calm down no matter what. After a long time, he shook off Jiang Yan's arm and his face turned cold. Jiang Yan, I'm warning you one last time. You're just attending the wedding on behalf of Wanwan. Wanwan is my wife in name. My parents are not something you can call casually. A trace of unwillingness and resentment flashed in Jiang Yan's eyes. Before she could speak, Yuan ran up to the two of them. She gently tugged at the hem of Shanian's pants and swayed it. Daddy, Grandpa and Grandma are calling you over. Can we just ignore that bad woman? Yuan wants to see Mommy and Daddy together. Upon hearing the words bad woman, Shanian's cold expression became even uglier. He stared straight at Jiang Yan. Did you teach Yuan that? Jiang Yan, the child is still young. What have you been teaching her? If you can't take care of the child, Yuan will be taken care of by my parents in the future. Don't interfere anymore. After saying that, he didn't give Jiang Yan a chance to refute. He turned around and walked into the hall. The news of the plane crash was still lighting up on the phone screen. The veins on Shanian's hand were bulging. As he walked from the entrance of the hall to the front, all he could hear around him were the guests' curses and dislikes towards me. I heard that Miss Jiang is attending the wedding on someone else's behalf. Could Mr. Shin really have fallen for that disabled woman from the Gu family? How could that be? The Gu family has already moved abroad to settle down. Gu-won doesn't have a single relative here. For such a big event as a wedding, no one from her family came. Mr. Shin must not have forgotten Miss Jiang in his heart. This is a calculated move. Didn't you see how grand this wedding is? I don't believe he didn't plan it in advance. Stop talking. Miss Gu is also pitiful. Not only did she become disabled in a car accident, but she also lost her fertility. She will be a useless person for the rest of her life. After all, she's the only daughter of the Gu family, and now she's ended up like this. With every word those people said, Shanian's face became uglier. How could this be? Clearly, after the car accident, he had asked everyone to block the news of Gu-won's accident. It was even more impossible for the perpetrator to talk too much. As long as he waited until the wedding was over, Gu-won would be his wife in name. He would live a good life with her in the future. He would watch Yuan grow up. He would protect Gu-won well and wouldn't let anyone look down on her because of her injuries. But why did the news leak out? He hadn't seen Gu-won in the past 2 days. What exactly had happened during this period? Had these people scolded her to her face? Had she been bullied? All these doubts lingered in his heart. It weighed on him so much that he could hardly breathe. When Shanian's parents saw him come back, both of them heaved a sigh of relief. But what they said next dealt a fatal blow to him. Ian, since something has happened to Gu-won, let Nian enter our family in the future. Anyway, Gu-won is a useless person. It's unlucky to keep her at home. Pick a time and get the marriage certificate. It's been a long time since there was such a big happy event in the Shin family. After the wedding, I'll go back and ask the servants to clean out Gu-won's room and make it your wedding room. Shanian stood there, stunned, looking at the delighted faces of his parents. For the first time, he felt disgusted. What marriage certificate? Didn't Jiang Yan already get married to someone else abroad? Shanian's mother glanced at him and chuckled. If we didn't say that, how would you believe it? It's all for the sake of letting Yuan enter our family. Nian was willing to ruin her reputation to let the child recognize her ancestors. You insisted on sticking with that Gu-won, so we had no choice. Anyway, that disabled woman is gone now. Just as well, Nian doesn't have to act anymore. From now on, you'll be a family. Her going abroad before was out of necessity. And we don't blame her anymore. These words almost made Shin Ian lose his mind. The proud faces of his parents stabbed deeply into his heart, remembering the questions he had asked Jiang Yan these days. Every time he mentioned her husband abroad, Jiang Yan always avoided the topic. She had never taken the initiative to talk about how they met. There were no traces of her husband's existence in her WeChat moments either. He was so stupid that he had only just discovered the truth behind her lies. And he had killed his wife-to-be in order to bring Yuan home. Guan didn't have any relatives or friends in the country. She had stayed here for his sake. He had also promised that he would be Guan's support for the rest of her life. He would never betray their relationship. But what had he done now? The feelings of guilt and regret tugged at his heart. After a long while, Shin Ian said in a cold voice, "My wife will only be Guan, whether she's alive or dead. I will only marry her. I don't care whether Jiang Yan is married or single. That one-night stand with her 3 years ago was a mistake. If I had known that Yuan would be born, I would never have had anything to do with her again. Since this wedding is what you wanted, you can deal with the consequences yourself. I will find my wife even if I have to risk my life." After saying that, Shin Ian turned around and left. Before he could walk out of the hall, Jiang Yan quickly ran up to him. She was holding Yuan in her arms. Jiang Yan was so anxious that she burst into tears. Yuan accidentally broke a cup just now, and her arm was cut. "Where are you going? Can you send the child to the hospital first?" Blood dripped down Yuan's thin arm. At the same time, Shin Ian's phone rang. It was a call from his assistant. He didn't look at Jiang Yan anymore. He just left a sentence. "Take a taxi by yourself. Leave the child to my parents to take care of in the future." Then he left the wedding venue. As soon as he went out, he immediately answered the assistant's call. "How is it? Have you found Guan?" The assistant let out a long sigh. "Mr. Shin, I've searched everywhere I can. Now I only know that Miss Gu stayed in a hotel 2 nights before she left, and I have her boarding information at the airport. There's nothing else. You'd better go and ask the rescue team. After all this time, the body might have been salvaged already." Before the assistant could finish speaking, Shin Ian hung up the phone in a hurry. He didn't believe it. He didn't believe that Guan would leave him alone. He even more didn't believe that Guan would have an accident on that flight. He got into the car. He stepped on the accelerator wildly all the way, eager to rush to the rescue team and inquire. But after passing 2 intersections, he suddenly hit the brakes and stopped by the roadside. He slapped himself twice in the face, filled with sadness. He was the one who caused that car accident. He was also the one who personally ordered and arranged the surgery. Guan was in a weak physical condition now. Even a normal person might not have survived the air crash. With her condition, how could she have a chance to live? In the midst of his emotional breakdown, he took out his phone and opened the chat box with Guan. Looking at the avatar on the opposite side with a beaming smile, it seemed as if Guan was still by his side at such a moment. Only by looking at the traces of Guwan's existence could he barely feel at ease. He reached out his hand, trembling, and stroked Guwan's avatar again and again. The chat record was still from 2 days ago. He had explained to Guwan about that banquet that night. His words were sincere, but Guwan never replied. She had never not replied to his messages before, no matter what she was doing. His messages were always set as special reminders. Guwan would also answer his calls immediately. When did she start changing? Shin Ian didn't even realize it himself. It seemed that everything had become different since the car accident. Scrolling up the chat records, it was the wedding that Guwan had been looking forward to for 5 years. "Ian, does this wedding dress look good? I want a sparkling dress. I can't waste my long legs. Shall we take our wedding photos in this style? Then we can print them out and hang them in the most prominent place at the wedding venue. I want the whole world to see my happiness, and then I have such a loving husband." "Ian, the size of the wedding ring we bought last time seems a bit big. Can I change it? Didn't you say you wanted to give me a surprise? Could it be that you designed the wedding ring yourself? You're so kind." He had indeed designed a wedding ring himself, but it was for Jiang Yan. Those dresses were just props for him to perfunctorily deal with Guwan. The wedding that Gu-won had been longing for and looking forward to for 5 years. He had been lying to her from the very beginning, but she had never noticed and had always been immersed in the joy of love. She thought she had found the person who loved her the most in the world as her support. The joy between the lines of the girl's words made Shin cry uncontrollably. Tears fell on the screen. He sent messages to Gu-won over and over again, pouring out his long-lasting love for her, expressing his debt to her, but when the messages were sent out, all he received were red exclamation marks. Gu-won had blocked him. Shin didn't hesitate any longer and drove to the rescue team again, but it was all too late. The rescue team couldn't find any trace of Gu-won in the sea at all. At the same time, I landed by plane and had already arrived abroad. That air crash was a trap I deliberately set for Shin. He wanted me to be disabled, to live a life worse than death, and to live in lies. As a gift, as a return, before leaving, I also gave him a big gift. My best friend came to pick me up at the airport and saw me sitting in a wheelchair. She cried so much that her makeup was all smudged. How could this be? That scumbag Shin promised to take good care of you, didn't he? Did he do this? Why can the surgery only be done abroad? It must be him, right? Gu-won, can't you see his true colors yet? Are you still going to cover for him? I smiled and wiped the tears from the corner of her eye. I'm fine. I'm all right, aren't I? I chose to stay by his side before. No, let this be a lesson. I don't want to be entangled with him anymore. It's better to leave like this. How's the surgery arranged? I want to wait until I recover before going home. I don't want my family to worry. My best friend nodded hastily. It's already arranged. I've invited an expert here. He's seen the medical records and said that the probability of the surgery being successful is very high. We just can't delay it. I'll take you there right now. The surgery lasted for 5 hours. The doctor said that fortunately, I had come in time. If I had delayed it for 2 more days, I would never be able to stand up again. Now, I just need to wait for my body to recover, do training slowly, and it won't be difficult to return to a normal life. I didn't pay attention to the news from my home country anymore, but the Shin family was too influential. My phone pushed news every day. At the Shin family's wedding, the groom fled the wedding halfway. Jiang Yin became the laughingstock of everyone. The parents of the Shin family came forward to explain that Jiang Yin was the daughter-in-law of the Shin family. As soon as the statement was released, it was exposed by Shin. He registered an account with his real name and posted our wedding photo online, and he threatened that his wife would only be Gu-won in this life. Yuan was taken back to the Shin family by Shin. He threatened with his own life and didn't allow Jiang Yin to appear in the Shin family, otherwise, he would destroy all the foundations of the Shin family. The parents of the Shin family were reluctant, but they couldn't resist their only son. They could only do as he said. Jiang Yin's dream of marrying into a wealthy family was shattered. The two families completely fell out. They fought a lawsuit for the custody of Yuan, but as the father of the child, Shin never explained for her. Looking at the abuse of Shin in the comment section, I couldn't understand him more and more. All of this was clearly his own choice. Now that I was making way for him and Jiang Yin, who is he pretending this belated affection for? I didn't open the news from my home country anymore and focused on recuperating in the hospital room. My best friend came to take care of me almost every day. The days weren't boring, but Shin was the complete opposite. He couldn't find any trace of me for a whole week. He drank alcohol every day and was rarely sober. When he was sent to the emergency room due to a perforated stomach, looking at his brother who grew up with him, he doubted himself for the first time. Did I do something wrong? Gu-won didn't die, right? I've searched all the rescue teams. There's no sign of her body. The boarding information must be fake, right? The Gu family has great power. All of this is her punishment for me. The doctor was helpless and let out a long sigh. To be honest with you, when Gu-won was in a coma before, although she didn't open her eyes, she still had consciousness. She knew everything you did. When she was having the surgery, I saw the tears in the corner of her eye. Ian, you've broken her heart completely, and she won't come back. I advised you from the beginning. You and Gu-won were the right couple. Jung-yin was just a passing bubble that appeared briefly during your college years. Once she's gone, it should be over. You are living in the past, and I couldn't wake you up. Gu-won's appearance once became your salvation. I thought that since you were childhood sweethearts, you wouldn't be disturbed by Jiang Yen, but you still made the wrong choice. Jiang Yen is not a good person. The ideas she gave you were to completely destroy Gu-won, yet you were obsessed with it, and now you have no way back. Do you really think that the one-night stand between you and Jiang Yen abroad 3 years ago was an accident? You know everything in your heart, from the moment you planted the seed. Your relationship with Gu-won was already broken. Only then did Shanian understand what he had missed, what he had lost, but it was too late. Regardless of his body that had just undergone surgery, he took a taxi to the police station to report the case. Since that was the case, I would grant his wish. A day later, he appeared outside my hospital room abroad, watching me leaning on a crutch and struggling to do the rehabilitation training. Tears fell uncontrollably. Bloodshot eyes appeared in his tired eyes. He didn't say anything, nor did he make any sound. Just like that, he hid behind the wall and stared blankly for a long time. Before leaving, he left a note and asked the nurse to give it to me. It said, "I promise you that I won't see you for half of my life. This is the last promise I make to you."